You're now rocking one-on-one with Raider Mystic KPOV 88.9 FM.
Good morning, everybody.
The preacher man says it's the end of time, and
We hear KPOV Bend 88.9 FM, Bend, Oregon, Central Oregon.
interest is up, and the stock
Got a special guest in the house,
only getting mugged.
Mr. Pardee,
Good morning, guys.
Joshua Pardee, local fisherman here in Central Oregon. I've been following and checking out for a few years, I believe.
Thank anybody for watching, for sure. I don't do it for me. Yeah, sometimes it seems silly to talk to an empty room, so I do it for you.
And little Hank here. Hank is a common buddy of mine when I'm fishing.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I'll bring in the little boombox, little Bluetooth boombox out on the boat, and
Oh, man, my boat's got a radio on it. We jam it loud.
yeah, cruise around. Sunrise, the fog's on the water,
Homemade wine
and the music's out there. What's your what do you think are the fish scared from the music vibrations, you think, or do you care?
You know, I don't think it matters too much, to be totally honest, because, you know, like when you're trolling, your outboard's vibrating a bunch, and, you know, I've never really found music to hinder it. As a matter of fact, when we're ice fishing, it seems like the more you walk around and the more noise you make, the fish come and like congregate to where you're at.
Check it out, see what's going on. Yeah, I know. I even on my kayak I bring my little radio and and I can feel it vibrating on my butt, and it hasn't stopped the fish from biting.
No, and music is life. I mean, how could you do anything without music? I mean, come on.
So I think they might like it. I think
so
like
too.
I kind of check it out and come to where the vibration is.
I mean, you know, if you're playing hardcore death metal or something, maybe they'll run. I don't know, but I'm sure you're safe. You're safe with Hank.
Die, fish, die! Yeah, no, yeah. I think Hank might bring him in a little bit.
I think so.
Because he can run a trout line. But yeah, here with Joshua Pardee, he's got a YouTube channel in and on the net that has all kinds of educational fishing techniques.
So it is a place where fish go on the net, fish go in the net, and then they go on the net. That's the idea behind that.
Right. And yeah, we're tying hooks, we're doing it all. I think I even saw you made your own lures. Did you do some of that?
I airbrush my own lures and paint them up and everything. I think my favorite category on there, though, is got to be I started a whole nother category on fishing for beginners. And, you know, that's just a super awesome space because I think a lot of times we kind of forget that there's still the person out there that is learning everything from square one, you know,
right.
And as they're watching these videos, they're hearing terminologies and seeing things that they're just like, I don't even know what's going on, you know. So even down to a simple how to tie a fishing lure on the fishing line, you know, like it's a great category. Just started kind of doing it.
Yeah, and it's helpful to somebody like me who I still consider myself like a rookie fisherman, even though I've been going a good 5 years now, about, I think. But I slowly keep getting all the parts. Like last year I got the boat. A couple years ago I got the kayak. 3 years ago I was on shore during the COVID years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went fishing a lot during that time.
Yeah, me too. Good isolation next to a river.
And, you know, and it goes back to, I think I was just, you know, I grew up, my dad took me fishing some. We did like a little bit of sports fishing in Mexico, stuff like that, family vacation. Oh, man,
that's a good place to fish.
We have a classic VHS videotape of us catching like an extreme too many Dorado.
And this is like back in the day when Dad's got the giant beast on his shoulder.
Yeah. And no disrespect to fish or life or anything like that, but yeah, we as a kid, I remember the video. Yeah, you know, they take the bat and crack the
bunker,
the mahi, knock them out, and that was a classic VHS video. And then I remember selling that fish in Cabo to the local restaurants in trade.
Hey, man, from water to plate. That's the idea.
Every day I'm hustling. But, let's talk a little bit about fishing here in Central Oregon. I know that at the moment you've been ice fishing.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't really realize that North and South Twin Lake here in Deschutes County is open year-round.
Still available.
And it freezes over. Right now, there is 10 inches of ice on South Twin Lake. I mean, you're safe at 4. You can drive a truck onto 10 inches of ice. Like, I'm not going to drive my truck out onto the lake, you know.
Yeah.
But
they probably don't want you to do that.
No, they probably, I wouldn't recommend it. But, you know, I mean, it's a good time. The fish have a lot less to eat. You know, they're pretty much just eating each other, and that lake is primarily stocked rainbow trout, and they're really not used to eating each other, so it can be a really good time. I mean, we've caught a lot of fish out there lately.
So what kind of sizes are you pulling right now?
Well, we seem to see like a 12-inch, 13-inch average, but there's definitely 20-inch trout that are coming out of ice holes. I mean, we've caught at least a dozen that are over 20 inches.
Yeah, if I recall, I believe they kind of were stocking it with some trophy stuff kind of towards the end of the season.
Yeah, they call it the brood program, so it's the genetics that come from Crane Prairie Reservoir. You know, they literally call them crane bows because they're so unique. And ODFW has taken those genetics and created the broodstock program for Oregon. And they put a lot of those into South Twin Lake all the time. And, you know, we're talking 8-pound rainbows, big rainbows.
Now, any other lakes other than just those two right there, or is those mainly the ones that we're hitting?
As far as ice fishing goes, those are the two main for our area. There's also, if you go down towards Klamath, there's a place called Fish Lake. People have been catching big tiger trout out of there. And then there's always Diamond. Diamond Lake's always a good ice fishing destination. Aside from the ice, our only options right now are like Ochico Reservoir, Prineville Reservoir. They're really low, so it's a long walk to the water. And then the old Lake Billy Chinook. Usually we would have Haystack as an option, but they just recently drained Haystack.
They drained it completely.
Yeah, so that they could do work on it. And who knew there was a 5-foot sturgeon hiding in Haystack Reservoir? Yeah, when they drained it, they found this 5-foot white sturgeon. Nobody knew it was in there, you know.
Now, I don't know if it's a fisherman's tale, but during the couple years ago, I had heard that they... there was accidents on the road. They got a truck full of fish, and that was supposed to go somewhere, but they dropped it in Haystack instead. And it was a fish that wasn't really native to what Haystack would normally.
Maybe that was the sturgeon.
So maybe they dropped like 500 sturgeon. That's the one that made it.
It was definitely there. We seen it because once it drained, it died, and you know we seen it there on the bank and photographed it and videotaped it, and it existed.
So did you go check out to see how many fish were like kind of left stranded?
So I looked a little bit, but I knew it was going to be pretty bad, and so you know that pains me to see. You know, so I advocated on Central Oregon Fishing Report to send as many people out there to go get them while they could, because ODFW opened up the regulations that you could literally go snag them. Like they wanted
catch as many as you can.
Exactly. So I tried to
no limits.
Yeah. So I tried to do my part in sending people there as well, but I kind of stayed away from it. It was sad.
Yeah, it's a cool little spot. I like Haystack Reservoir.
Yeah.
right there, easy to get to for the Central Oregonians, kind of in between Bend, Redmond, Madras.
It's a great place for somebody that's disabled too. Like, we don't really have a whole lot of those options, and you can drive. If you got the handicap sticker, you can drive right up to the fishing pier, park right there. It's got an easy pathway to the fishing pier, and you can roll a wheelchair out onto that fishing pier, and it's got built-in rod holders into the side railing, and so that's a really cool spot for sure. It's a bummer that it's down for a little while, but they'll rebuild it. It's definitely going to come back.
Yeah, and that's one of the first things I noticed the first time I was at Haystack was the big decks and stuff that they had out there for people to fish off of, and for if you have a disability.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people, I hear from my community of people that, oh, you got to go somewhere else. Everybody fishes at fishing pier. Guys, that fishing pier catches fish all the time.
Yeah. And if you're just trying to learn how to fish too, there's a handful of little ponds and stuff, especially for kids.
Most definitely.
That make it easy and quick for the catch sometimes.
Absolutely.
Maybe too easy and too quick. I know we can go to Shevlin Pond here anytime and just drop a line and it's on.
Catch a monster. That's where my first son caught his first fish. I got it on film and everything, and it's like I've revisited that piece of footage. I don't know how many times.
I know. Last year, anytime during the summer, and we got an extra hour or something, and if I'm hungry, then I'm like, hey, kid, you want to go down to Shevlin?
But yeah, there's Shevlin. There's Pine Nursery Pond over off Empire Boulevard. If you live like out in Prineville, there's the Prineville Youth Pond. There's a gravel pond up Century towards Bachelor. They put in a new one over on the west side of town. I can't remember its name, but they started stocking that as well.
Is the gravel pond you're talking about, is that the one in front of Coltis, or is that's a...
So there's that one. There's that one too. That's a different one. Yeah.
I haven't been to. I know I've heard of this gravel one. I've never been there.
Yeah, it's just off Century Drive as you head up towards Bachelor. It'll be on your left. There's like a gravel. What is it like they mine gravel?
yeah. And it's kind of the little rock gravel one. When you're heading to Coltis, that's on the left.
Man, when they load that one up, it's crazy. I have some footage of that place where we were literally just picking the most like random lures. Can we catch a fish on this?
Yeah.
And of course, it was every cast.
It's easy. It's easy when it's loaded. So, yeah, I was there a few years back, and, we were just nailing everything left and right, excitement for kids for sure. And my kid was wearing a Portland Trailblazer CJ McCollum shirt, and we took a picture with some fish, tweeted it at CJ, and he immediately shared it on his social media.
Nice.
So CJ McCollum, shout out. I know you're a Pelican now, but that was a great fun moment.
Yeah, my man likes fishing. We got to shout out to him for sure.
Yeah. And speaking of basketball, you are coaching basketball in Lapine.
That's right. Yeah.
And you got one team or two teams? Or?
I've got one team, third graders and fourth graders.
Yep. And that's awesome. I also heard you're undefeated.
That's right. Yeah. So, it's my kids. I just stand on the sideline and yell and shout, But, I got a group of kids this year, man, that they're thirsty for the win, of course. Every kid wants to go on the basketball court and win a game. But the thing is that these kids are thirsty to learn. And, so every practice, like, these kids are just constantly getting better and better. And then when we go play a game on Saturday, so we got our fourth game today, shortly after the show, actually.
Okay. What time's tip-off?
12 o'clock.
Okay.
12 o'clock. It'll be at High Lakes Church in Lapine.
Okay.
So we're the team Heat. We got to pick our names, and we went through a kind of a, NBA team names. So some people picked like the Sonics and the Wizards. And I was like, we're bringing the Heat, man. So we're going with Heat.
Did somebody really bring the Sonics back?
Somebody brought the Sonics back. We're playing the Sonics today.
Oh, man. Yep. Seattle. Hopefully you get a team again one day. Are you a fan of a basketball team?
I used to be way more into watching basketball years back. I still really enjoy to watch it, but I don't really have a primary team. I mean, I like watching the plays and watching that ball move. And, it's just the strategy in sports just in general to me to get a playoff and move around a ball, whether it be a football or a basketball. I don't know. I'm really into that.
Yeah, and the strategy is intense when it's a really closely matched pair of teams, too.
Absolutely.
And that's what I witnessed last night at the Summit High School versus Mountain View High School varsity game that went into overtime in the final seconds, with the student section going crazy, jumping up and down. I believe that we can win. I believe that we can win.
That's what we want. Nobody wants to watch a blowout. I mean, come on. Like, when it's your team, great, cool. Especially, one player going out with a concussion in an intense moment, technical fouls being thrown, players freaking out. It's all the act of sport. It's like when you're catching a fish and it comes all the way up and it gets off right at the last second. Oh man, I got lots and lots of moments of those. Actually, I got to share this. So, I had the largest Chinook salmon that I've ever caught in the state of Oregon. This fish was literally pushing 50 pounds over on the Rogue River. Wow. And my buddy's his nephew was with me. He's only 16 years old, so he's still just kind of learning into fishing. And I fight this fish for like 2 hours, no joke. And I finally get this fish to net, and DJ, his nephew, who's 16, he's the only person that can net for me because I'm battling a 50-pound fish, Yeah. Well, DJ nets the fish backwards, so you always want to net a fish face first, head first. And he nets it tail first. Well, this massive salmon is inside the net with the tail still in the water, and it's like trying to jump out of the net like it's going up over a waterfall. It literally knocks him over in the river. He falls down in the river onto a rock, bear hugs this 50-pound salmon.
You're not going to leave, but maybe.
But he's got no shirt on, so it's a slippery fish. It just slips out, and it literally slaps him, slaps him in the face with this giant tail fin on its way out and swims away, and it's gone. We've lost it. And this 16-year-old kid turns around, and his first words out of his mouth is, "Will you ever speak to me again?" So it happens. I mean, it's all part of the sport. You win some, you lose some. Sometimes the fish win,
Yeah. And that reminds me of a moment up at Crane Prairie where we had a pretty big fish off on the little, I don't know what it's called. It's kind of like a little island-looking spot. I think it's across the way from where you might be doing some bass catching.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. It's like a rock island over on the resort side.
Yeah. And, of course, all over Crane, there's trees underwater.
Oh, yeah. It's a flooded prairie. So.
And so, our friend had a big one, big rainbow, cranebow, and was smoking a cigarette, shirt off, but it was all wrapped up, but he wasn't going to let it go, and he was down in the water, falling over, still had the cigarette burning and reeled it in, deep in the water. It was a good moment.
Epic.
Yeah. So speaking of Crane Prairie, now what's the vibe at Crane Prairie right now? Is it kind of does it not have as many fish? Have you fished it much?
No, I mean it's in good shape. It's closed right now. It opens up in I want to say April. I think it's April 22nd, and it's just completely frozen right now. Okay. You can't do much with it. But one thing that we've seen adapt a lot in Crane is multi-species. There's kokanee in Crane, there's largemouth in Crane, there's rainbows, there's brook trout, there's bullhead catfish, there's channel catfish. So it out of our lakes, it's one that has an abundance of different types of species. And so anytime you get that as the lake begins to flourish, they're going to kind of separate in their own region. So I do see that at times where like people fishing for bass or whatever, they're like, man, there's, less bass in Crane. Well, you just got to go where those fish are hanging out. There is tons of bass in Crane. All the species in Crane are in a huge abundance. I fished it really heavy for bass last year, And I did extremely well. I mean, there was a few pockets that I walk into that are kind of secret, and I was seeing some 8-9 pound largemouth in there.
Wow.
I was having a hard time getting them to bite this year, but they were there, in abundance.
Yeah, that's one thing I'd like to do. I'd like to go there, and I'd like to catch me some bass.
Oh man, I'll take you.
Yeah, I know we communicated about it before, and I know as I was watching, I think there's even might be a video on your channel about fishing crane for bass.
Oh yeah. So one of my highest performing videos actually is a total how to fish largemouth at Crane Prairie Reservoir, which is kind of out of the norm a little bit too, because on the channel, you got to look at it like fishing TV, look at it like a national TV show, and so anytime you do a video that is so specific to a location, it can be a little bit tough. But for some reason, man, that how-to on Crane Prairie, that video has just been killing it for years and years.
And yeah, when I first saw some of your fishing videos and had a couple questions, and you hit me back immediately, and that was awesome. And some fishermen are, keeping their spots on the DL a little bit. Right. You seem to be like, cool, and, if you can come catch a fish, come catch a fish.
Totally.
Here's where it's at.
I love to share my sport. I love to, you can probably tell from the channel, I like to help you learn and help you succeed. I've been, again, like the whole fact that I started that fishing for beginners category, it's like I grew up here. I grew up with parents that taught me to fish as soon as at a super young age, and I feel bad for those that didn't have that opportunity, and when you have somebody too that's, maybe in their 20s or even in their 30s, they're really hesitant to ask and admit, like, well, I never came from this background. I never, And so your success to me is honestly so much more important than my success, if that makes sense, Excuse me. And then, as far as like sharing spots and things like that, I have it all the time, especially speaking of Crane Prairie. Like, I have a few holes there at Crane Prairie that people know. They know it. I've dropped pins. I've given it to people. They've seen me catch big bass in those locations on video. Yeah. And I'll go there and people will be there, right? Mm-hmm. And they're always really respectful because they recognize me and they're like, oh, hey, Josh, you want me to scoot over, whatever? Here's my philosophy on it. You were commenting, I know on radio here, we can't see it, but I'm wearing a shirt that's got quite a few different companies all over it. I do pretty well in fishing. It's that simple. And I can't claim to be good at the sport if I can't just show up and from absolute scratch find a new location, find a new technique. So it challenges me too that when I go to somewhere that I planned on fishing and you're there, it gets me out of my comfort zone and it pushes me into locations and things that I might not necessarily do that day. And that just helps my success that much more, But I want you to catch fish. So you fish the good hole.
I want to catch fish. That's why I'm going out there. And, I had to make that decision. Actually, I had been signed up to coach a Little League team. And I've done it the last 5 years in a row. But this is, last year was the first year my kid wasn't even playing, and he was going to help me coach. But now I got two kids in two different sports that might be traveling at this exact time of the year.
Time is slim.
Is slim, and I'm just trying to go fishing.
Yeah.
I had to send my letter of resignation yesterday and say, hey, I'm not going to be able to be a head coach.
Yeah, my coaching for Lapine Elementary, it takes up my Saturdays, and it's taken a bunch of fishing time away. So.
Oh yeah, and then with the Little League, with the juniors, it's like, 2 practices a week and games on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And those.
And as a coach, too that it's like it's not just those 2 practice times and the game time. Like, we're at home and we're pre-planning what drills we're gonna run, and because these kids they're learning right now, and so we got to come come to the court with stuff ready, you know, so it's even more than just that. We've got our homework too.
Emailing everybody.
Yeah, that's
group
right.
emails.
Yeah.
Group emails is a big part of the deal.
For me, it's group text, but same concept.
Yeah, that sounds annoying.
Even some of my kids have a phone, so it can get wild.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the third graders with phones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fourth graders. Fourth graders.
If they all used it the amount my nephew does with his little watch phone.
Oh, man.
Hey, Uncle Aaron. What's up, dude? How you doing? But Central Oregon lakes. You got some favorites?
Oh man, if we're talking just
there's a lot of them.
Fishing season wide open, like middle of summer, you know, where I can have any option I want. I really like fishing Crescent Lake. We go over there and we go chase big Mackinac lake trout out there. It's a little bit different because you got to have the boat, you got to have the gear. They're down 100 feet, so you got to have downriggers and ways to get down really, really deep. But man, we've pulled some 20-pound, 25-pound just monsters out of there.
Wow.
It's great. I wish that lake would freeze over. It rarely does. It has before in the past, but we're talking like, I don't know if you remember the winter of 1992 around here. There was literally 4 feet of snow on the ground like overnight. That was a crazy winter.
I was here. I'm not sure I remember it, but I was here that year.
Well, just remember
1992?
Somewhere back that range when there was a whole bunch of snow on the ground.
Yeah. I remember a little bit later.
But catching one of those Mackinac out of an ice hole would be phenomenal.
I have never caught a Mackinac, so I know Odell Lake, right?
Yep, Odell and Crescent
is a good spot. Crescent, I didn't know that.
I like
didn't know
Crescent because Odell is a lot bigger.
It's huge.
It's longer, and I mean
deep, right?
I've hit 340 feet in spots on Odell Lake, and I'll see around like 290 on Crescent, but the fish are more isolated on Crescent, same species and everything. I mean, and then you've also got some big old brown trout in Crescent too, and they feed almost on the same thing that the Mackinac do. So you never know when you're going to also pick up this bonus brown trout. You know, we've caught some good ones out there trolling for the Max. But Odell can be tough because Odell's big, you know, and it gets blown out with weather really bad.
I got to give a shout out to Crescent Lake Resort.
Yeah.
They actually, here's a sports fishing connection right here. They're one of the sponsors for Mountain View High School's basketball team.
Yeah.
So they just donated to support the basketball team.
Hey, I come in there and I spend money, trust me. Fishing gear and
the coffee.
I'm one of those guys too that let's be honest, when there's like a $5 launch fee and whatnot, everybody doesn't always pay the $5 launch fee. Especially because around here we're really forgiving. You know what I mean? Like over at Odell Lake, they don't have any kind of system as far as like putting something in your car. It's a total honor system, you know, but every time I go, I always pay that because it's like, you know, I love that resort, Crescent Lake Resort. We love you, you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm going to pay the launch fee every time I go because I know that contributes to your resort and it stocks the shelves and keeps the trash cans empty and the bathrooms clean.
Well, I'm gonna have to go hang out at Crescent. You know, honestly, I don't think I've ever been there.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But I've been by it many times because that's the route.
That water is so clear. It's gorgeous.
But yeah, I was just looking at old pictures of fishing and lake pictures in summertime, and I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that warm weather.
I'm out in Lapine, man. I'm ready.
Jumping in the water, swimming a little bit, you know, hanging out on the shores and soaking up some sun, hanging out. Sounds fun.
Yeah, I'm ready. I went to South Twin the other day, and it was literally a blizzard. I posted a video.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
It was rough.
Yeah, you're like, I better get out of here. I don't have the four-wheel drive right now.
Yeah, and I almost got stuck. I just have a little minivan because it's great on gas mileage, you know, and its nickname is literally the bobsled because when I go out there, we're full on hitting scraping. But you know, she gets there and she gets back, so why not?
Yeah, my girlfriend's out at I believe it's Lake of the Woods.
Lake of the Woods. Yep. That's another spot to ice fish.
On an ODFW free ice fishing.
Yeah, see, they're doing the same thing, man. They're trying to get more people into ice fishing because we've definitely seen, myself with Central Oregon Fishing Report, just anybody in this fishing realm here in Central Oregon, it's like we've seen that people think that it just stops, like that fishing season is like a summer thing only here, and it's really not. We've got frozen lakes for ice fishing and other lakes that don't freeze. They're still open year round, and it's like, get out there.
And if you want a lake that feels frozen in the summertime, you can go to Devil's Lake.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cold one.
But the cool thing about Devil's Lake is you can see the fish pretty good.
Yeah, that's clear water.
And you can drop in on a kayak over the top of them.
Just remember, guys, you want to use like a super small, really clear monofilament line for that lake, because if they see the line, they're not going to do too much. And that lake is clear, super clear water like that is a big challenge. I did a kayak bass fishing tournament on Lake Shasta once when it was just crystal clear, and it was a 2-day tournament, and I did all right. We went home with a brand new Hobie kayak, so we didn't do bad.
Yeah.
But day one, it was like we struggled so hard to get the bite, and I had this epiphany just looking over the edge of the kayak, looking down. I mean, you could see 30 feet underwater. It was so clear, and I was like, these fish have to be seeing this line, and I changed my line out to 4-pound test. And we're trying to catch 10-pound bass, so that's a stretch, you know. But I ended up logging more fish. It was 99 anglers, all sponsored semi-pro anglers. I logged more fish in day 2 than any other angler, and I had every other competitor coming up to me, "What'd you do? What'd you change?" And I said, "It was the line, man. Like, I changed that line, and as soon as they couldn't see that line, I was hooking a fish almost every cast."
And that's a great question too for your average fisherman, your rookie like me. The line,
it's important.
Like the clean line.
Yeah. Try to match it as much as possible. Like if you're fishing the North Umpqua, it's like an emerald green. They make literally emerald green color line. They make moss green, and that's going to help. And even that clear in the clear water conditions, that can still even be hard because you're matching the clear, but that monofilament shines in that sunlight, and there's so much sunlight because the water is so clear. It's just, that's definitely the most challenging water, is super, super clear.
And you're out in La Pine, so you're by Miller Lake.
Yeah, Miller's great. So Miller's.
What do you think about Miller?
Miller's awesome. It's the only lake in the entire state of Oregon. It's open 24 hours a day.
Yeah, you can night fish.
For all species. Yeah, so we go out there with the glow sticks and we hang out and make a fire, and it's awesome. We've gone out there on the boat and trolled at night with the boat, and I mean, that's super cool. It brings back this like mystery. Like to me, when I was a kid, there was this mystery of going to the water, dipping in a line, and when the rod starts to move, it could be anything. It's like an alien, you know what I mean? And Miller brings that back because sometimes you're in total pitch black darkness and you're fighting this fish, and because you can't see, there's just all that mystery, it's great. And there's big brown trout out there. Yeah,
I'm going to get out there and do some night fishing for sure now that I have a boat. And warning on Miller Lake, I think at the mosquito time of the year.
Yeah.
It can get pretty deep, right?
Yes, it can.
I heard there's some big, fat, juicy ones, too.
And I swear, this sounds crazy, but I swear, one day we were out there in the boat, and we got visited by some kind of crazy something.
Yeah.
I'm going to say unidentified flying object. I'm not going to say it was aliens.
Are we going up in the sky?
Yeah, I'm not going to say it was aliens. It could have been military technology. It could have been, I don't know, but it came, we're out there just glowing in the middle of the lake. We're the only people out there in this total darkness, glowing blue with my boat, and it was, the best way I could describe it was like a drone came down and but it split in two and it watched us, and it was weird and crazy, man.
Yeah, you got my hair standing up on my arms.
We literally called the ranger for that area the next morning. We were like, do people ever see weird? He thought we were crazy. We were like, oh, whatever, okay.
Yeah, and that's, we're out in Oregon. We're out kind of in a little isolation here sometimes in the middle of the night, out fishing by yourself under the stars.
The point that I brought that up, I know it was kind of a random turn there, but you can see, the point is that you can see everything in the sky. Like when you go night fish out there, if you've seen
Besides
Central
the
Oregon
fact that
Fishing
we
Report,
saw UFOs, it's beautiful.
Yeah, if you've seen stuff on Central Oregon Fishing Report, I've posted pictures out there with a special aperture camera that soaks in the light over a course of like 30 seconds or whatever, and we've got some night fishing photos on there. And I mean, you will see constellations that you've probably never seen in your life. I know that sounds crazy, but
Yeah.
it's gorgeous.
Yeah, and that reminds me of the sky over in Summer Lake, where there's also Anna Reservoir.
Yeah, hybrid bass.
Have you ever tried to catch those?
I have. They are hard and tricky.
I heard they're fighters if they're still around over there.
Super fighters. Well, they're a white bass and a striped bass hybrid, and both of those species of bass are really heavy fighters, especially stripers, you know. But they're kind of strange and finicky. Like, guys catch them on like steelhead guts, and then they catch them on like chicken livers and like just the most random stuff. And it seems like if like a guy caught them on chicken livers recently, nobody's going to eat chicken livers anymore. Like, you got to find the next thing that they want to eat. Being a striper, my suggestion is to go out there and pull like Rapalas, like stick bait plugs, because a striper bass just can't refuse that, you know. That's going to be a tried and true method to getting them, but it can get really convoluted on what you should use for them out there.
I believe there was a state record. I don't know if it's still the
Yeah, no,
correct,
it's still the state record.
like 30-pounder. Is that out of line or?
I want to say it was like 28 and a half,
Okay.
but it was
Close to that,
man. Yeah. And I want to say the guy's name was Chad. I've met him before. I might be. Hopefully, if he's listening,
The
and I
old
just butchered
folklore,
his name.
Chad.
I want to say it's Chad. but-
Hopefully he's still out there trying to get another one.
yeah, a bigger one.
And at Summer Lake, there's some hot springs, so you can chill out in the evening while you cook your fish.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, going back on that, growing up in Oregon, I've seen a few things in the skies myself.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to touch on this for a second. The Sasquatch.
I was just going to say, the thing is when you're out in nature, you experience things that not everybody does. On the topic of Sasquatch, I'm born and raised. I also hunt. I've spent a lot of time in the woods and in the forest. I've never seen a Sasquatch. I've never seen footprints. I've never, but...
So I'm going to make this real brief. I was up camping, not to scare anybody off.
We're opening the rabbit hole.
I'm just going to say Cascade Mountains, right? But I woke up in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m, to a giant animal wreaking havoc in the distance, screaming, and it bouncing off of the mountains and echoing, and it's nothing I've ever experienced or heard before in my life. And then someone's like, oh, could it be an elk screaming? Could it be a bear? Could it be,
You know what's a crazy one? Is cougar. When a cougar screams, it literally sounds like a woman being murdered. Like, it's literally crazy. So much so, I had a friend that was out in the woods and heard a cougar screaming, and they literally thought that a woman was in trouble. So they took off running to go find this woman that's screaming out in the middle of nowhere in the forest.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, here's a 180-pound puma comes popping out of the bushes, And I'm telling him, I'm like, no, you heard the cougar. Like, that's literally what you heard was the cougar.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll have to check out cougar screaming videos.
It's weird.
But I did a little research. The only reason that popped up and triggered me again, I forgot about it, but I was really tripped out when it happened. And then...
oh, no, I'm bringing up bad memory.
And my hair's standing again. I don't have much, but it's up there. But, I'll let it go. Oh no, I was watching a video. Came across some videos on YouTube of was randomly watching, some dumb Sasquatch shows on some Discovery Channel that seem set up and like fake. And,
right. Most of them seem that way.
That? Oh, it's over there. I can't believe it. Guy, my light's not working. The battery's out, or whatever. And some of those kind of silly setup.
There's a thermal something over there because our sound guy's hiding behind that tree.
That stuff. But ended up down a rabbit hole and heard some other sounds of what appears to be like up in BC, Columbia kind of stuff. The animal sounds in the distance and trying to figure out what they are. Anyways, it sounded exactly like that sound, and that's supposed to be the sound of the Sasquatch scream.
To kind of bring it back into the fishing realm, this isn't totally off topic. Like, to be successful out there, you need to know what's going on in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
You need to know what's around and, not just the fish species, but everything,
And the beauty you see of like the bald eagles and the falcons and, I know up at Little Lava Lake, I'm out there sunrise, kayak, by myself, and I was just cruising along, had a little Hank playing.
Yep.
And then, boom, something hit right behind me in the water. Scared the crap out of me.
Osprey took a dive.
And it was a bald eagle.
Oh, okay.
Flew right over the top of my head, feet away, with a big fish in its claws. And that, I almost rolled over in the kayak because it freaked me out.
We seen Crane one day. We seen a bald eagle and a golden eagle getting into a fight.
Brawl.
It was one of the craziest experiences in my life. And if there's one thing you guys listening could gather, I will tell you right now. I tell this to people all the time that, if you're going out fishing and you're expecting the fish, this is where you're failing. Because it's so much more than that. You need to get out in this backcountry and you need to envelop yourself into everything that is going on. You need to sit there and you need to look at the birds. You need to look at the eagles. You need to look at the trees and the bugs flying around with the wind. And when you envelop yourself into this outdoor Pacific Northwest lifestyle, all of a sudden you're going to realize, oh my gosh, my fishing rod's trying to run away right now. Like the fish is the bonus to this beautiful place that we live.
It's your connection to nature.
That's right.
It's a good time to connect with friends and family.
That's right.
Too, right?
Yeah, the fish is a bonus. The fish is just a bonus. But the fish is going to show up if you focus less on that fish and you focus more on that enjoyment of Mother Nature.
Yeah.
The fish is going to come.
And then your fishing pole is running down the trail and going into the water.
You're going to have such a better time, too, just in that mindset, too. Fishing can get frustrating. Let's be honest, You do the cartoon, cast the bait caster. You get the rat's nest like the cartoon, And you just want to throw it, But if you're focused on that nature and enveloping yourself into that feeling and just being in the moment, you're going to have a much more successful and fun time fishing.
So we were going to get a buddy of yours on the phone too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to line that up here. Who we got? It's
Devin Vestal with 541 Fisherman. If you're into the fishing scene here in the entire state of Oregon, you probably already know who Devin is. He's a really good buddy of mine. I really lean on him with the salmon and steelhead side of things. And, while I'm keeping track of what's going on here in our Central Oregon region, he's really keeping track of what's going on over in the coastal region with our sea-run species. And the combination of having him as a collaborator, we're able to pretty much keep tabs on almost any kind of fishing that's going on in the state of Oregon. So I wanted to bring him along and at least say hello.
Yeah, we'll tap in here in just a second. I'll get him on the line. I believe salmon fishing kind of starts next month.
So spring salmon fishing is going to start kicking off. So that we're starting to see just very few numbers of spring Chinook going over Bonneville and Willamette. Guys are already, the diehards, they're already down there on the Willamette River and trolling for them. And pretty much here within the next couple of weeks, we should really start to see that pick up. It's been primarily good winter steelhead fishing right at the moment. And Devin, he can collaborate on it a lot more than I can because he's been out there pounding the steelhead.
I'm gonna get him on the line right now. Live call. I love this radio live call with the phone ringing.
Yeah,
live, baby.
He's waiting.
Yep.
Hello.
Devin.
Hey, how's it going?
What is going on? We are live on the air right now.
Oh, sweet.
Hey, Devin, what's up? I'm Raider Mystic. This is One-on-One with Raider Mystic. We got your boy Josh Pardee in the house. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, yeah, no problem. It's a pleasure to come on the show.
But yeah, we were just talking about salmon fishing coming up.
Yep, and we're talking about spring salmon fishing. How they're starting to stage there on the Columbia and the Willamette, and you know what people can do to get out there and give it a go. You probably haven't started doing that yet. You've been pounding away at the steelhead, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's been this year's been a little tough, man. There's definitely not as many fish around as there was last year.
That's a bummer.
Maybe the UFOs got them.
Well, maybe it's because they know that Josh Pardee, hasn't bought his salmon and steelhead tag yet.
I got the license.
I haven't gone and chased steelhead yet, so they're like, well, he hasn't come to play, so we're not going to come to play.
To be honest, I have never caught a salmon.
Oh man!
And this is the year, so I'm Devin, setting it up already.
Devin, we got to get the drift boat out.
Oh yeah, it's a rush, man. There's nothing like it, I swear.
Yeah, where are you heading to do this? Where are you catching them at?
So a lot of I live in Eugene area, so a lot of the fishing like that I'm going to be doing here soon is going to be on the Willamette River and the McKenzie River.
Yeah, McKenzie gets popular with these springers.
That's a pretty cold one, right?
Oh yeah.
Ice cold.
I'd like to say that the McKenzie is, I believe it's almost all snow runoff, so you can imagine it's pretty cold.
I know on a hot summer day, you jump in there, you still have to jump right out.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's cold.
But yeah, we'll have to figure out a few spots there and learn the ways.
Yeah, Devin knows. I'm telling you, this guy's got millions of views when it comes to salmon and steelhead, which is incredible. He's got 2.5 million view video of me catching a salmon, which, in all honesty, to me seems rather silly because it's like all it is me setting the hook on a salmon. It's like it happens all the time.
Somebody likes it. Somebody likes it. And yeah, Devin's got a YouTube channel. It's 541fisherman.
Yeah, which is a super relatable. I love his name because it's like if you're a fisherman here in the state of Oregon, right? Like, you're a 541 fisherman. So it's a super cool, relatable name. And as far as like his branding and whatnot, like I'll wear a 541 fisherman shirt because I am a 541
We are
fisherman.
541 over here for sure.
Yeah.
So between a 541 fisherman and your channel in and on the net, there's a wealth of information.
Oh man, a wealth of information.
And it's really awesome for someone like me that is still claiming to be a professional fisherman, but doesn't know much. I got the boat, I got the kayak, I got a handful of rods. And any recommendations on what kind of rod we should be getting for
salmon?
Let's go salmon and then go trout.
Okay.
Can you use the same rod?
No. I'll tell you what. We'll tag team this, Devin. How about you cover the salmon? How about that? What would you recommend rod wise for a salmon?
Heavier.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And in my opinion, I see this a lot of the time. You don't need to go out and go buy a $300, $500 setup. I've personally caught a lot of salmon just on Walmart gear. You can go down to a local Walmart and buy it.
It's good views.
A basic fishing rod. But for salmon fishing, you want something that's a little bit longer. I would say like an 8'6" rod at the least.
That's what I throw. 8'6".
Yeah, I personally use a 9'6" rod. The line rating I like anywhere from 10 to 25 pound range. I think that's the best because when you hook a nice fish, it can still play, and you have enough backbone on the rod to handle that fish.
Yeah, but you can still feel it though. It's not so stiff and just. horsing it in.
Right. Yeah, and with line, I like braided fishing line. I use 40-pound braided line primarily.
I use 50.
All my rods. Right.
Well, the one thing too about a salmon is like, the salmon run only comes at a certain point. There's so many regulations and rules wrapped around it. Like realistically, if you're out there on the river with the intention to take a salmon home, it's like to get one and then convert it to the net and be able to tag that fish is you want to land every one you hook. That's the case for almost any fishing, but especially with salmon fishing.
And let's see where anything you guys want to point out about Oregon?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, 100%. There is so many opportunities in Oregon to get outside and explore everything. That's kind of something that I know me and Josh have talked about it quite a bit, but you want to be able to, you get one life pretty much, and you want to be able to go out and explore everything. Like right now, I'm actually over on the Oregon coast crabbing.
Yeah,
but it's like, next week I could be up in Lapine with Josh doing some ice fishing.
He will be.
Right.
How's the crabbing right now?
Currently, so I started this morning and I've already got 4 keepers.
Nice. So you're like actively crabbing at the moment.
He's in Winchester Bay right now.
Sitting on a dock or something, or are you in a boat?
No, right now I'm actually just in my hotel room.
That's
you guys, but
VIP crabbing. Go back and check on it a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's what's nice about having traps is when the crabs go in there, they the keeper size ones can't get out. So then I could just go back in an hour and pull them up, and the keepers will still be in there.
Yeah, and the best time too is incoming tide that brings all the fish, all the crab, everything in. When it's outgoing, it's like super rough going. Plus, if your crab pot comes untied or anything, it's going straight into the ocean. So I do like he does too. It's like I'll look at the tides. I'll get a trap in just before the high tide's coming in, fish it through the high tide, go back, go have lunch, go, whatever we're going to do. And then just as that high tide is finishing up and coming into that slack tide, that's when you go pull those pots. And I mean, you're going to have the most success that way too.
Yeah, Oregon's awesome. We got the ocean on one side. We got the mountain lakes. We got all these rivers.
Dude.
I mean, if you're not out there fishing, you better get yourself out.
Take it from me. Like, I've traveled a lot of places. I've fished Florida. I've fished Montana. Like, I've fished Alaska. I've fished a lot of places. And Oregon's insane how much we can move around. And I think that's a big contributing factor to like Central Oregon Fishing Report and stuff like that is that, me sharing pins and telling people where to go. Like, we have this huge ability to spread out. We could have, 10,000 fishermen in any one given weekend. And it's like the amount of space that we have, we may never even bump shoulders. It's crazy.
One of my last memories of last summer, I went by myself out to Bandon. And jumped on a little crew out there, and we're catching halibut.
Yeah, that's coming up right now too. Halibut season.
That was my first time doing that, and I got a nice big fat halibut. And the great thing about that too is you have it for the whole winter.
Yeah.
You have food to eat.
I got
good food.
I got bummered out last halibut season because we booked a charter to go do like out far, go do the big halibut,
Yeah.
And then we were all the way over there, literally where Devin's at right now, Winchester Bay. We were there. We had it booked. We had the motel room. We were physically there. We were woken up the next morning, getting ready to go, and the ocean wouldn't let us go. I mean, our charter, he had a big boat, you know what I mean? But when it gets rough, there's bar restrictions, and sometimes the ocean just decides for you. But I was bummed out because it was like, man, we were going to go catch 100-pound halibut, big halibut. So
there was a few setups I had in Bandon where I was trying to get tuna for the first time. And they were just too far out. They said they were like 50 miles out or something, and they weren't going to do that.
Sometimes those tuna are out 200 miles out. Like that's wild.
Just got to get the friend with the boat.
Lots of diesel.
But
so you just caught a steelhead on Valentine's Day, didn't you, Devin? It was just the other day. You caught a nice chromer.
Oh yeah. I was This is the second year in a row that I've actually caught a steelhead on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Oh, deja vu.
Deja vu.
Right?
Maybe they're trying to date you.
They love you, Devin. They definitely love you.
Kind of the funny thing about it is they were both female steelheads. So.
Yeah.
Oh, it is love.
It is love.
Love at first bite.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And at first light.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we still have, I'd like to, probably about a month and a half of good steelhead fishing left.
Yeah.
Until, and personally, like, I will fish steelhead season until it's over, and then I'll go start chasing those spring salmon.
Yeah.
Because the spring salmon, like, yeah, it'd be really nice to go catch an early one, but the thing is I work full time and only fish on my weekends. So I like to go do, the fishing opportunities where I have the best opportunity to, catch a couple fish to make it worth my time.
For sure.
So I'll go steelhead fish until, into April, and then I look at my ODFW fishing report, and it's like, oh, the coast is doing good for spring Chinook now, in the river system. So I'll pick and choose what river I want to go to based off of like that report,
right?
And then keep going from there into summer, and then bass fishing and that stuff picks up.
Well, and ecosystem wise, that's what's going on. I kind of wanted to explain this for our listeners. It's like those steelhead are going to hang out in the river system until they're pressured by those spring Chinook coming in, so they're going to be hanging out high up in the river trying to spawn, and they're going to start seeing spring Chinook salmon coming into there, and they're like, oh, okay, I guess our time is done. We're going to start getting out of here, so until those spring Chinook really do start to become, not just in the river, but really in the river, those steelhead are going to hang out, and those opportunities are still going to be there.
Right. You just have to, something that I know I try to push it as much as I can, and Josh does too, is you definitely want to be able to follow the rules. Like if you're going to say, oh, I'm going to go fishing on the Willamette River, you want to check the regulations for that river to make sure that you can actually go target those steelhead. Right. You can't just go to a river, and if you see salmon, you can't just fish for them.
Yeah.
It has to be open to fishing.
Yeah, you really do got to do your homework and figure out what the regulations are, because as a rookie fisherman of years, there's some things I had to learn along the way, and I didn't really understand or know that I wasn't supposed to be doing something.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, both me and Devin, we are a big advocate about this, because sometimes the regulation book can seem like ancient Egyptian algebra, you know what I mean? Like it sometimes it's so hard to interpret, and we call ODFW, we text ODFW, like they know who we are, and we've got that voice more than most to be able to say, hey, this regulation is really hard to read. It's hard for people to understand. Like people that are literally checking these regulations and they're trying to fish by the rules, they're not looking to break any rules. So let's make it nice and easy and clear for them to understand how this rule applies and what this rule is, so. But you got to definitely check your regulations, even if it seems frustrating sometimes because it's hard to interpret and it's hard to read. Just give it a look. It's worth it.
And hey, Devin, appreciate you joining us. We only have a couple minutes here, so we got to hang up on the call, and I was gonna just throw my music outro here. So
okay.
So Devin.
Thanks for joining us,
Devin Vestal of 541 Fisherman on YouTube. If you want to learn
salmon and steelhead, check him out. For sure.
And then our guy over here, Josh Pardee. You prefer Josh or Joshua?
I like Joshua. Strong biblical name,
Okay. Well, we'll go with what you want. Joshua, Central Oregon Fishing Report on Facebook and Instagram, and also In and on the Net on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so, Devin, we're going to say bye. Thanks for joining us.
Catch some more crab.
Cool. I appreciate you guys having me on the show today.
Yep. We'll talk to you soon. We got to get you back.
Oh, yeah. All right. Awesome. Bye.
And that was Devin Vestal. Glad he joined us.
Devin is definitely a wealth of knowledge. You come hang out with me and Devin, and I promise you're catching fish. Not only are you catching fish, you're going to be learning a whole lot. That's the thing. We're going to teach.
And I got to get you to. I want to catch some of those bass out there on Crane Prairie.
We're going to do it this year.
And there's all kinds of fish out there everywhere. They're flopping around waiting to be caught. we got a little Sasquatch screaming in the background over there.
Yeah, somebody's trying to call me.
But it's been awesome having you. I appreciate you coming out here.
Yeah,
I did want to congratulate. We have a Lapine, Dylan Mann of Lapine High School. He was the OSAA Sports Athlete of the Week for wrestling.
Yeah, good for you, buddy.
And I also wanted to give a shout out to Rose Kohler of Summit High girls basketball. She was the OSAA Athlete of the Week.
Good job, guys. It's hard earned.
Yep. And we would definitely want to give shout outs to those two here in Central Oregon. We got 10 seconds. We're signing out.
Stay fishy.
Stay fishy.